Hello, this is Mikey from Lost Treasure Designs, and today we're going to be creating this fun little journal. We've done this before where it was a little bit bigger, thicker. This is more of a compact version, and whereas I normally would do like the faux leather on the side as a binding, I'm going to be doing paper as a binding for this. It has a front cover flap that opens up, and then of course you've got the journal inside here. I've got some pockets, all the journal pages, and then this is an extra little flap pocket that I made to put on this front. So I'll show you how to build this. The bones here of the larger journal will show you how to put the journal pages in using a really simplified version where we don't have to sew anything. We're just going to use staples and glue to put these pages in. So this should be a fun project. This particular kit, this one is a kit that is called Fabulously Fuchsia, but the kit I'm going to be using to create this is Angel Wings, which is kind of a tribute memorial kit. So what I have done is I went ahead and I printed out, we're going to start with the journal pages because I want them to dry as we're piecing together the rest of this. So I went ahead and I printed out the journal pages front and back, and then I stapled them. Once I had them printed out, I trimmed off the edges. I like to chalk my edges or to ink the sides of my edges so that when I have the book closed, it's not a bunch of white paper that you see, but kind of the darkens it up. I've stacked 4 pages per signature, stapled them here, and then I folded them down so that the stapled side, where the prongs are facing outward. I've gone ahead and I've created the kit. This particular kit comes with 32 pages. I printed those, but then there is a page that has this memory, and I printed a bunch of memories pages, and I've put them at the back of this because I want this to be a memorial book that I can write some things down. This particular one I'll be using for my father-in-law who passed away last year, and I want to write some notes in here. So this would be a fun kit to put together if you were kind of wanting a tribute to a loved one that has passed on, or if you like angels, this is also a fun kit. So the first thing I want to do is, once I have all my signatures ready, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 signatures all together. The thickness of this is a 1/2 inch thick. You don't have to have your thickness that thick, but that is what I went with. Sorry, I forgot to grab something. Okay, I'm gonna want some heavy duty paper clips, and I want to stack these. Make sure that all of them are also facing upward, because I've done it before where like I've had a signature in the middle of the section be the wrong direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap these down because I want these all to be leveled out together. Once I have that leveled out, and I'm gonna kind of just grab this. I'm gonna use, whoops, I'm bending it. I want to, once I have this leveled out, I'm gonna go ahead and crimp that so that it's holding that side. And then I'm going to level these out. This middle one wants to go down. And I will crimp that side. I've got two. I think I'm going to put another one just here in the center once I get this glued down. So my next step is this is just some tacky glue. You could use bookbinding glue. It does have a little bit more flexibility, but I found that this one works just as well. So if you can see, I'm just running glue along the edges of these. Now you could do this with a paintbrush. I am just doing it with the end of the glue, and then I'm going to use my finger, because your finger is your the best artist tool that you got, and it's a free tool. So I'm just running my finger down there. I want to make sure that I spread this out so that I'm getting all those signatures together. You'll see how this is spread in the center. Once I get that other paper clip on there, it will hold those a lot better. Okay, so I'm spreading that. I'll quickly grab another. Okay, now that I have this done, I am just going to set this off to the side. That's going to dry, and then we will use that in a little bit. So I'm just going to set it off to the side here. Obviously, I got to take care of my finger. I got a wet wipe for that. Yes, I have paint on my hands. I was painting a piano today, and the paint decided to adhere to my skin. Even with lots of scrubbing, it's not coming off. Okay, so I wanted to show you that you don't necessarily need to buy expensive chipboard in order to make a really nice kit. This is actually, you can see it's a mop box from a fruit snack that I got for my kids. When they were done, I saved the box because I like it because it's a nice thin but sturdy cardboard. So for this particular kit, I printed the pages out borderless, although it does have a border that I still trimmed off. Once these were done, they were just under 5.5. They're about 5 1/4 by 8 1/4 once they were all trimmed out. So I took that measurement, the 5 1/4, I added an extra quarter to that so that I have 1/8 of an inch on each side of my paper, so that when I have my book, you can kind of see with this one here, when you have your book, you just have a tiny bit of a lip between the pages to help protect those pages, just like you would see like with a hardback novel. Okay, so I've got two, I have a front cover and a back cover, 5.5 by 8.5 inches. This is going to be our front flap, and I did that at 3 inches by the 8.5 inches. With this one, I did this very traditional like I do in my other journals where it's a rectangle. This is a 3 by 4 inch rectangle. Today I'm going to try something a little bit different, and I grabbed the same cardboard from this box and I cut a 3-inch circle. So I'm going to try something different with this to do a circle instead of a square. So I think it would kind of look a little bit better with the theme that I'm going with. So now the next step is to cover these boards. So I'm going to set these off to the side here, and I'm going to grab some double-sided tape. I've got my glue. I'm going to go ahead and add some double-sided tape to the edges of our first cover. One day I'll figure out how to get this back of the tape off without it driving me crazy. I think if I grew my nails out longer, it would be a little more helpful. Oh, should say this. Okay, I printed out, this is one of the papers. You want something that if it has a print that needs to be up and down, you're going to want it printed on portrait, not landscape, because it's not going to be wide enough to cover this. So it does need to be printed portrait. This kit has several pages that are portrait, several pages that are landscape, but just know that if your print does have a specific direction, that you want it to be printed portrait. So just so you are aware as you are printing your papers, I am leaving my pages as they are. We will trim them as we go, since most of it's going to be used. I'm not going to worry about trimming it off before I wrap this. Okay, so this is printed on premium 28-pound paper. So it is a premium paper, but it is not cardstock. It's like right before you get to cardstock, but it's not like regular paper. There is kind of like a little bit more of a sheen to it. It's a little more heavy-duty paper, more for it's like a presentation paper, so it prints a little bit better quality than it would if it was just normal paper. But since I'm putting it on top of this cardboard, we don't really need it to be any thicker than that. I'm just using my tool to level out all that glue. Okay, so you'll see that it covers most of it. We'll have a bigger overflap, but that's okay. What you can do is grab scissors, and I'm just going to cut this on a diagonal, and I want to make sure that there is a small gap in between the corner and the paper. Those in the trash. Okay, so you can decide whether you're going to use some more tape here. You don't really need to. I am going to, just because it helps it adhere a lot quicker than just straight glue. And since I don't want this to be a super long video, I'm going to use some tape to help speed up my process of getting this paper mounted. Alright. Got that one. I just want to run a glue along this edge, so I really want a nice edge, and then we'll put some glue up on the side. I'm going to pull up, use my tool here to run along the edge, and then I can pull this over so that it's nice and flat and on there tight. I'm going to pull all the glue off on the sides. That way I know it's nice and flat. You got a nice, good edge there. Okay, we'll go ahead and do this side. It doesn't matter to me which way you go about it. Sometimes I just go around, but today I'm going opposites. So. see how that tape just helps to stick that down right away, so you don't have to sit and hold it. Ooh. Don't want you to go down yet. Okay, and you'll see because we left that little gap, it helps to cover these corners just a little bit better, so that it covers the whole board and not just leaving a little gap. Although I like to use little metal corner pieces, and we will probably use that on this one to help keep that from getting dinged up. But it does help to, ooh, I forgot to take the tape off. It does help it from exposing that inside cardboard. You can't see, but my puppy keeps putting her ball on my lap, trying to get me to play with her. Okay, it's got that. I'm gonna go ahead and set that off to the side. I'm gonna cover this one. I'm gonna use the same paper for the front and back. I'm gonna use a contrasting paper for the flap. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover this with tape and glue. That down. That looks straight. Not. I like to keep wipes on hand because sides of your tools do get a little sticky with glue. Not now, dog. I'm crafting. Okay. So now we're going to cover this. You can obviously see I don't need this whole paper, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of zip off probably like 3 inches on the side here. I do want to still give myself enough to wrap around, but I don't need that much. Probably don't even need that much, but could save that for something else. Okay. Again, this is the front flap, 3 inches by 8.5. Okay. Ooh. Nice and precise glue laying out. Not. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Cut on an angle. Save a little bit there so that you have just a little bit away from the edge of the corner. And I'm going to just... Ooh! Ripping the paper. Again, this paper was the 28-pound premium paper for this one. Most of the kit I used cardstock for when we get to like the other parts of the putting this together. The journal pages too, I should mention the journal pages were also printed on the same premium 28-pound paper. That is my go-to with journal pages. I think the color just looks better on that than it would like on just a normal copy paper. The presentation paper just makes everything look a little better. I'm using a lot of glue tonight. Oh, see? I did it differently. This time I'm going around. Okay, obviously if you do this, you could trim this down a lot more. You really only need about a 1/4 inch to wrap. You don't need to have a whole inch to wrap around. Alright. Okay, so we've got our front flap. We have our front and back. Now we're going to do our little closure here. I'm going to set these off. I'm going to flip this one over because it was still a little wet with glue. So this is another page from this kit. This is like an optional cover that you could just use as a journal cover if you printed on like cardstock. I printed again on that 28-pound paper, and I've gotten lately into glitter pens. These are glitter gel pens, and I just added some accents in the same colors with the glitter pens, and I just like the way it adds a little bit of shimmer to the paper. So I went ahead and I kind of put this up to light so I could see that, because I wanted this heart to be in the center of my circle. So I held it up, positioned this right, and I traced around it. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of trace around this just enough that I can cover this, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Ooh, sounds terrible. Okay. Look at that fancy circle. Alright. This, save it. You could use it later. Maybe. I won't be using it today. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and add some glue to this. I told you, dog, I am crafting. No. It's not the kids, it's the dog. Okay. Just gonna smooth that out. Okay, so this is the next part that we're gonna want to do. This is glued down to the front, but I can't just like have this fold down because it's not going to. So what I want to do now is just come in here and I'm gonna snip a bunch of little snips with my shorter scissors as I go around. This will help me to wrap this paper around this circle. It's a little tedious, but in the end we'll have a nice circle instead of a square, and I think that is kind of a fun change up to a very similar design. Okay. So I'm just going to run some glue along the edge of this. Then I'm going to pull this forward and I'm just going to wrap. And as I go, these are going to overlap. But you just want to pull it tight so that as you're going around, it's covering the sides. I'm just going to take a second and press these down and then keep going. You will notice that if you didn't cut it close enough, it'll tear a little bit, but it will get covered when we add a piece of cardstock to the back of this when we do the little flap. Just a little bit more glue to these last two so that we have something for them to stick down to. Okay. I'm just pulling these all toward the center. I'm gonna pull the glue. And now we have that is covered. I guess I could have gone a little bit more center, but that is still fun. And it's a nice difference to add that. So now we've got 3 different things going on and kind of all blend together to create a nice piece. Okay, so now we've got those done. I'm going to just flip this back over so that it can dry. Set these off to the side because our next step is going to be creating the spines, which is going to hold this all together. So this is our next paper, and I printed this on cardstock. This is just 90-pound cardstock, and then I went ahead and I glued it down to a thicker cardstock. I want to say this is probably, I don't know for sure how the weight on this. I'm thinking it's probably more like 110 because it is a pretty heavy duty cardstock. The reason why is because I want this to be a nice thickness because it's going to be what is holding this together. So I do want it to be nice and thick. So we're going to cut these pieces together. When I had our when I measured this out, it measured a 1/2 inch. So that is kind of what I am going off of. I'm going to do a 1/2 inch and then just add a tiny bit more, maybe like a 1/16th, a 1/16th to each end. And I will show you how I do that. So what I need to do is I'm going to cut 2 strips of this that are 2 inches by 8.5 inches. So I will do that. If confusing myself with this. So first, I'm just going to open this up, turn this over. I want the 8.5. I'm going to give myself a nice clean edge. This edge, you can see where the paper is coming off, so I want this one up against here. I'm going to cut this down to 8.5. Now I'm going to flip this sideways, and I want some 2-inch pieces. Just like that. This one is a little bit off, so I want to go on this side. So I've got a 2-inch piece by 8.5. I want one more. Okay, so these are going to be our spine pieces, and we want 2 of them because of the wraparound. So I'm going to save this and this because we're going to use these to help attach our flap when we do that closure. Okay, so save that. You can make bookmarks, nice heavy duty bookmarks out of that. I'll show you. Okay, so now that I've got my 2 pieces, my front one, my main one that's going to hold the journal, is going to be slightly smaller than the one that is going to flap around, and that is because you have, this is what's holding the journal pieces, and then this needs to go around the cover, so that you have to have it just slightly more, and I will show you how we're going to do that. We're going to make it 1/8 of an inch more. I'm going to flip my scoring tool, or my cutting tool, up there because I don't want it to come in the way of my scoring. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. I want to do a score at 1/2 inch. And I'm just running that back a couple times so that I give myself a nice score line. Because this is thicker and it's paper glued on paper, I want it to go a little bit further in. So now that I have that on 1/2 inch, I'm going to move this over. That is my 1 inch. I want another 1/2 inch, but then I'm just going to move it over 1 of those 1/16 of an inch markings. Just give me a little wiggle room with my spine. So this is my spine piece. You'll see that there, yes, this is hanging out a little bit more on that side. That is fine. So I don't confuse myself, I'm going to write down spine. I'll put a J for the journal spine, just so that I know which piece it is, because they are going to look very, very similar. So again, I'm going to do 1/2 inch. Half-inch score. Now this time, because my side spine, my flap spine, I'm going to go to my 1/2 inch, but then I want to go 1/8 of an inch more plus a 1/16. So we're like right under the 3 1/8. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 is what we are scoring this at. Just going to go ahead and line that up with my 5. Nope, we're not at 5/8. We're at 3/4. Yeah, 3/4. Hold on. I have to do this again in my head because I want to make sure. Nope. We're at between 5/8 and 3/4. Measure once, or measure twice. Cut once. Or it's cuss twice and measure once. Okay, so this is my side spine. Okay. I will be covering this, although you could leave this so that you see it. Optional. I went with also a colored cardstock that somewhat matched the color theme of this kit. You could go with any color that what you want to with that or whatever you have on hand. Okay, now let's get this put together. So first step is my 2 covers. I want to make sure these are both facing the right direction. So these are both up and down. Turn that around. And I'm going to want my journal spine. So I'm going to put that here in the middle. And I could have moved this over a lot more, give myself a little bit more room. Since I didn't, I might, hold on a second, and I'm going to double check. These are my book binding tools. And I've got this totally awesome tool. This is something I got off Etsy when I was searching book binding. What's nice about this is that I can put this where I want it on a spine, and then I can have that so that it gives me that exact 1/4 of an inch away from their thing. I just remembered how I did this. I did not do it this way because I want to invert it. If you see, I almost did it. This is how I normally put things together. If you see, this spine is inverted, so it's going inside rather than the outside. If you see that, and that I want to do it this way because I like the way that looks. So what I want to do is I'm going to run my tape, instead of on this side and attaching it like that, I'm going to run my tape here and attach it on the side. I don't think I need these with the way that I'm doing it this time. So what I want to do is, you can see where my score line is here. I'm just going to run some of this tape along my edge. We don't need that tool today, but it's still a really awesome tool to have. So, okay, got that run there, and I want it on this other side. Of the spine here. Okay, and obviously there's a lot more on this side. You could center that up. I like to have the 2 inches because I can fit it inside my my guard here without me not being able to touch it. So what I'm going to do is pull this side off. I'm going to run some glue on here. Okay, so this is where it's different. I want this facing towards me, and I'm just going to come and put this. I want my edge to go right up against that line. And you can kind of see I have my fold line there. It is my scored line is right next to it. This isn't covering it, but it's right next to it. And I'm just going to go ahead and really put this down. I am not quite sure why I'm a little bit off there, but I am. When I cut it, I must have cut it slightly shorter, but you know what? It'll still work, and it will still be beautiful. Okay, so on this side, do the same thing. Pull that off. I'm going to add some more glue. Then I want, make sure that's the right direction so that they match. I want this to go right up against that line. And since I have it coming up there, I want to make sure that it was flush down here so that I have the same gap on both sides. Okay. so now I've got my journal spine. You can come in here and you can crease that. And you can see how that's going to close. Probably shouldn't do that quite right away since it hadn't finished gluing itself. And I could have probably folded that down before. So we can go ahead and do that on this one. I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a head start. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same thing, add tape along here, and then I'll be gluing this piece to these like that. Except I want it on that side. No, yes, I want it on this side. I want it on the back. So this is your front. We're attaching this to the back. And this also, this has words, so I want to make sure that I have the words matching with the direction of this. Ran out of this tape. I like these smaller rolls anyway. The big rolls get really awkward. Okay. Make sure my tape's down nice and good. This again, I'm attaching this to the back cover. I want that to make sure that I'm lining it up once again with that fold line just on the side of it. Now, sorry, I flipped this upside down. I'm right-handed, so it helps me to do things right-handed. So I'm making sure these are matching, going up and down, lining that up with the fold line. Alright, so if yours looks similar to mine, we're on the same page. Okay, so we've got the bones of this done. I am going to be attaching our closure to this momentarily, because if we do any like latches or magnets or anything like that, now is the time that we want to do that, because we want to have it be covered up with our inside paper. So whatever you're going to use as your, make sure this is dry, and I'm going to show you how this folds like so. So we want this is going to rest here. So I want this to have either a snap or a magnet, or you could even have this so that it is like a big button and you tie it around. Excuse me, I think I'm going to go with a snap because I like it to have a little bit more sturdy sturdiness. Is that a way to say that? So, it's my magnet snaps. This is your bottom. Got a hair stuck to my finger. Bottom, top part here. So they just kind of go together. And before I attach this to here, we need to grab this extra piece. Nope, not this extra piece. I want to make sure my papers are going in the right direction. This is what we cut off, and this is measuring 2.5 inches. So it's 2.5 inches with our 3-inch circle. And this is really, it's wherever you want this to go. The first thing we want to do is I'm just going to give myself a score line. I'm going to give myself like a, flip it around. Oops, cut it off. I'm just going to give myself a 1/2 inch score. And that's, I gave myself a 1/2 inch. Then I want to move it over probably, we're going to go 1/4 inch, moving it over, because when we have this closing over, this is going to fold over. We need it to be able to have just a little bit of a lip, or be able to go over that. So I'm going to fold that down and fold that down. So this we're going to attach to our front cover, but now I want to just determine whereabouts I want this circle to be when it closes. And I think I want it to be centered on this. So I want that to go about there. I'm going to mark this with my pencil. That way I know I can trim this off. I can glue that down, and that'll be the amount that I need to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we're going to attach our closure to this. First thing I want to do is this is going to be my closure, and this will attach here. So I'm going to go ahead, just need to see where I'm going to glue this down. There. So I just want to glue this down first. That isn't a lot of glue, but I kind of want a lot of glue because it needs to hold the closure closed. Make sure I have that lined up so it's straight. Okay, I'm going to set this off to the side because I've cut another 3-inch circle, and that's just going to cover that, but this is also where I'm going to attach this closure piece. So this is our closure. It's the one with the little nubbin on the end. This one with a little hole is going to be attached to the flap. So I'm just going to first tell myself whereabouts that is going to close right here. Okay. I just need to know not exactly, but whereabouts I'm going to put this. So I'm going to go off to the side attach it here. I've got a piece of dense foam. I've got my pokey tool, which somebody helped me out and said it is called a awl. A-W-L. Yes, I had to look up the pronunciation because I wasn't quite sure if I was saying it right. We can call it the owl or the awl. Kind of like the owl. I'm just poking that through and turn it over and open these little wings. So that will be the back part of that. I'm just going to put a piece of double-side tape across that just to give it a little bit more stability so that it doesn't pop out if you're vigorously opening it or something. Yeah. So, I didn't quite press that down long enough. Okay, so I'm just gonna add some glue. And now I'm going to attach this. I know that my closure piece here needs to be on the end, so I'm just going to push that down, line this up with the circle, and just kind of press down and get that adhered. Get a good massage. Okay, that will be our flap there. I'm going to attach this. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and attach it now. I was thinking I was going to wait and put in the journal, which I could do, but I'm going to just go ahead and finish this up. Just run a little bit of tape along that, and then of course add some glue because we want this to hold really well. So I'm just going to fold this back to where we had it. About there. And I will also come in and I can put just like I could put pretty much anything from the kit, like an embellishment to cover this flat piece, or you could just leave it as is, but I like to just add something to cover that. Like this, I just used one of the little sayings to cover that. So that part is done. Now we need to attach this. So make sure that this is down real quick before I start messing with it. Ooh, and it's not, it's moving around. I almost wonder if I could match this up. Oh, I can. So what I'm going to do, just to hide this a little bit better, if I'm matching this paper up with the paper behind it. This was just an extra piece that I had. When I'm cutting, I cut off some that we're going to add for the cover here. But this is also another option that you can do if you really want to hide that closure piece. I'm not going to worry about, I normally like try to ink all my edges of everything, but because I kind of want this to hide a little bit more, I'm not going to worry about doing that. This will also help it secure it a little bit better too. I'm just going to run tape down the center, and then we'll put glue along the edges of it. Now, I just need to try to match it up. Alright, so that is one way to cover a seam. Just to blend it in with another piece of paper. So when it's closed, I can't really see that it's there. Okay. Oh, you know what I just did? Bitter. Bitter, bitter, bitter. I put this paper up against the wrong fold, so I wasn't allowing it to bend. Looks like I got a little carried away with glue. I'm gonna have to come in here and color that in, but that's okay. Okay, so we have that piece done. Now I'm going to attach this to here, because when I close this up, I want to mark where I'm going to attach that piece. This is just a brush marker, and it takes a little longer than normal markers to dry. But then it gives me two little marks so that I know where I'm going to be putting that closure. Grab all tool. Punch that through. And open its wings, legs, arms, whatever you want to call these pieces. And then just like our other one, I'm just gonna put a piece of tape over it, kind of help hold that down. So there we have our closure. It's all done. So now I'm gonna come back and fix this in a little bit, because I don't want to spend time showing you how I go about fixing my many mistakes. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cover this spine, the cover flap. I cut out a piece that is number dyslexic, 2 7/8 of an inch, and then by 8.5, but then I trimmed like barely an eighth, maybe an eighth of an inch off of that, so that I have just a little bit of a lip where you see the fold of the other paper going through. And then I went and chopped the edges. So again, 2 7/8 by 8.5, and make sure you trim a little bit of it. So I am going to add some tape along this, just since we're having things dry a little slow. This also helps your edges to stay down really well. Wonder if I can use this thing. That might work. Okay. Delicately apply your glue in an even coat. Totally kidding when I say that. I could have went with the same paper on the back of this because I had leftovers, but I like having lots of different papers that all kind of go together. It just makes it look a little funner. That's a good word. Okay, so now I'm going to do my spine piece here. It's going to be a 1/2 inch by 8.5, and then of course I just snipped the very ends of that. I'm just going to run some tape along the center of this. This is optional. You could leave that exposed as the color of your cardstock, but again, it just adds a little bit more detail. Oh, poo. Okay. All right, so to cover these, we're going to cover them and put in the spine, like sort of in the same time. So this is our journal. It's all glued down. The glue's all dried there, so it's nice, almost like a flip book. And it's holding together really well. I like this way to do a binding. I like it better. I've done where I've sewn it in, and my sewing I can never get as tight as I want because I'm always afraid I'm going to pull through the board, but I like it this way. So this side, our left side, we are going to want a 6" by 8.5" paper. And then we'll trim that off. So I trim just a little bit off the top like we did over here. And then I'm going to score, you want to score on the right side a 1/2". And the reason why is because this is going to help hold our journal in place. And sometimes I will take like the first page and I will glue this into the cover, but I've also done it where I've just taken this edge and glued it down to the cover, just to cover up the seam when we do that. So just to prep this, I'm going to add some tape along this edge. I'm not going to take it off yet. I'm also going to add tape on the other side of that score line. And then I'm going to go around this with tape. That way when I'm ready to put this down, I just need to pull the tape off and be ready to go. Okay, so that side is ready. This is going to go in the middle. So now this piece here. So this is going to be a little bit different. So you don't have to do it this way. This is just the way I do it. I printed this out double-sided. This is another one of the papers that comes with this kit. So double-sided. And this is the same paper that the journal is printed on, the 28-pound premium paper. I've scored it. Let me write this down somewhere. Somewhere I wrote down what I did. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, since I have no idea where I wrote it down, we're just going to measure it. I need to do another score line anyway, so I want to say this is just an 11, because this was an 8.5 by 11 paper. Yeah, it's 11 inches. So full sheet, 11 inches. I did this borderless. If you don't do it borderless, that's fine. Just trim off a little bit on the border that it comes with, and you'll be fine. And then I just trimmed off barely, so it's 8.5. I trimmed off it's like 1/8 of an inch off of that. Then I made a score line at 5.5, and now I'm going to do one more score line. I'm going to move my 5.5 score line over a 1/2 inch, and I want to do another score so that I have two lines. And the reason for this one is because I'm going to fold this back. I was trying to find a way to make it look pretty and not lose another page, a journal page, but also yeah, so you kind of lose this because this is going to get glued down. If you want, you could just print half a page, or you just go ahead and go with it. What we're going to do is that this is going to glue in here like that. Our spine, our journal, will be in here, and this edge here will then butt up against that to hold that page in. And then this will just be an extra pretty page that will have And we could add like a pocket and stuff to this flap if we want to. So I'm going to add along the inside of this, in between these two score lines, I'm going to add tape there. And then I want tape on the right side. And we can go all the way around. You could leave this white. I just think it looks a little unfinished when it's just left white, so that's why I printed it with. And this one really doesn't have as much ink as some of the other pages. Okay, so now that is ready, and that will go there. Now I want to get this ready. I am just going to run some tape down the center of my spine. I'm going on the inside of the score line, the folds. And because I want this tape to go all the way from one end to the other, this will just help add a little bit more stability and also help it adhere a little quicker so we can move on. This one's harder to take off than the other one. Okay. All right. Got that. I'm just going to run another one along here. Yeah, I'm using a lot of tape, but I want this to stick really well, but I also want it to stick kind of quick. Okay. Let me give this a little bit better rub down. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. Now I'm going to run some glue. I'm going to put the glue on this because it will just be a little easier to stick it down. Okay, so now this is ready. Make sure that it's faced the right way. I'm just going to try to evenly put it in the center. Of both of those sides. You'll notice that there will be a slight gap in between your fold and the edge of the journal, and you kind of want that so that you have give when you turn pages and stuff. I'm going to take my little pokey tool, and I'm going to, I don't know if you can kind of see, you can kind of see where the pages folded together to make the signature. I just kind of go where those pages are, and I just push down in the center of those to get it to stick a little bit better. You could also open this up and run your tools along the edge of that to help it stick down too. Okay, while that is setting up, this is the fun part because it's like you get to balance stuff out. And I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but this is how I did it with this one. Okay, we have this ready. I'm just going to go ahead and take the tape off of this one. It'd be better if that were actually resting on that. You could totally like put it, just close it, I guess. There we go. All right. I'm sorry if this seems really awkward. It is awkward because I'm like further away from where I normally would put myself. Okay, I'm just going to take this fold here. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and put this down while it's not stuck down. I just want to make sure that this edge is next to our fold. I think this will help. Okay, yeah, I should have attached that first. That would have been a lot helpful. Okay. All right, now I'm going to turn it up so that this gets down. And at the same time, I'm going to have this go down. Okay, here we go. Alright, that's going down. So now I'm going to go on the sides here and just push it down a little bit better. Alright, so that side is in. I'm going to go ahead and... I don't even know why I tried. Just slide it down that way. Okay, now I'll do this side. I might need to run a little bit more glue along there. what you guys think when you see me do weird stuff. Like, oh no, he's messing up again. As if I haven't done this before. Okay. So again, I want this fold up against here. Actually, no. I want this fold up against here. So I'm going to line this up with that. Just gonna press that down. Now, just because we moved this around a lot, I think the tape also makes it a little hard for the glue to adhere to the fibers in the paper. So I think that might be a downfall of using so much tape. Now we just need to line this up. Then you can see how that acts as just a decorative end page. And there we have, it actually holds it in really nice just on the sides there, but as it sits longer in this glue, the better it will stick down. So I can really put it in there. This tape, you can see it kind of hung out a little over than what I wanted. So I'm just going to trim that off. Okay, so there you have our journal. You could leave it just as is. Like that with the closure. But the kit comes with tons of fun embellishments that you can add to this. It also has like a couple things you can use as covers. It's got lots of pockets, envelopes. Now is the fun part where you get to go and decide what's going to go where. So we have our corners here that we can do. You could actually take things and glue it to here, so you have two places to hold, you know, envelopes or little note cards. This kit comes with actually a lot of like kind of like greeting cards, but more like note cards that are just more pretty. Another thing that I like to do is to add a pocket to the back here. And all I did was took one of the decorative papers, like this one here. That is actually what I did with this, is I took the leftover spine paper, and I'm just gonna zip that off. I think I just wanted to make it look a little more like a pocket. I'm just going to give a little bit of a border on the top there. Just marked it so that I didn't have to like really measure. And I'm not even going to worry about... Ooh, there's like a line in here. I'm just going to trim off some of this because want enough that I can fold it over. Give myself a little bit of a clean edge. And then I'm just going to glue. I'm just gluing it down so that I have about maybe a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to fold this over. And since this is a really thick pocket, because we're using the leftovers of that cardboard, it gives it a nice edge. And then it can kind of stick out a little bit better. And then make it look a little nicer. Come in here and punch the corners. I like the bottoms punched and leaving the top. I think that always makes it look a little nicer. And of course, add a little bit of ink, stress it up, adds a little character. Okay. And then this one, I'm just going to go ahead and go around my edges. You won't be able to stick too much stuff in this because it's flat. If you really wanted to like have it as something that could hold more, you could always add like a little accordion fold to the side of a piece of paper to have it so it pops out a little bit more. But that is a quick way to add some more storage to your little journal here. Also to use some of the extra papers that you have left over from building this. Okay, so I'm going to keep going on this guy. I'm going to add some corner pieces just to kind of pretty it up, jazz it up a little bit. I won't show you me doing all of this. Alright, so now that I have the bones of this all put together, I want to use some stuff from the kit to embellish this. One thing that I want to show you is in this one, I have this extra little flat pocket. So I'm going to show you how to make one of those. And you could do this with any of the designer papers. Let me just close this for a second so we have more room. You can do this with any designer paper and just turn it horizontally. This is one of the covers that comes with this kit, so I thought it would be fun just to use what we have here. So what I'm going to do first, because I kind of want to make sure that this, I'm just going to fold. You'll see why I'm folding it in half, and then I'll fold it the other way. But I'm folding it in half because that's where my fold is going to be. Then I'm going to want a circle. This is a 5-inch circle. And I just want to make sure. I should probably just do it on this side so I can actually see what I'm doing. I'm just going to kind of eyeball the center of this. Then I'm going to use, I think I can go up even higher. Use my pencil to trace that out. Then I want to save this side here because I need it to not only make the pocket but then to attach it to the journal. So I'm not going to worry about this bottom part. I'm just going to run some glue along that, but we'll fold this back to create the big pocket. When I printed this also, I should say that when I printed this particular one, I printed it at 90%, which I didn't even know my printer could do that. You have to go into the like preferences and change the scale inside that. If you're printing like a PDF, it should be in there to print. So I'm just going to cut this out. And I'm just following that curved line that I created. And that's just going to give us a nice, even feel to it. I have no idea where my scissors have just gone, so I'm having to use these little bitty ones. Okay, I'm just trimming off the bottom of that, and now I'm going to score these two. Ooh, that was not even straight. Alright, so there's one, and so one of these, I'm just going to go with this one. This one's going to be the side of my... Before I do that, I do want to distress this a little bit. I'm just going to use the back side of one of these papers. The only reason why I want to do this is because you will see a little bit of it when you open the pocket. So I don't want just like the stark white, so I'm just adding a little bit of ink to the side of that. I also think it kind of just finishes off the look of it. One thing you could do as well, because this is going to be a flap that turns this way, you could curve this edge or you could just leave it straight. And I mean curve it by like punching the corner to just curve the corner. Okay, so that is done. Now I can go ahead and glue this down. Okay, so now we can attach this inside our journal, and I'm actually going to put it in the back because I got a little ahead of myself and put a pocket up here. Now I would have put it here if I had like remembered, and then covered this flap here with the pocket, but since I forgot, I'm going to put it back here, and then I will use something else to cover it. I'm going to be doing another pocket anyway, some pockets back here that I'll show you, so that we can add some file folders to it. So I'm just going to, I don't know if I'm in the frame or not, I keep wanting to do stuff really close to me. I am going to line this fold line up with the fold of the spine here where the book folds. That way when you go to close the book, you kind of close this at the same time. This is where I got all, I scored it funny. So now I'm gonna fix it. I love it when I don't do things right the first time. Alright. I'll try that again. Okay, run some glue. A lot of glue. And I'm just going to line that up with the fold. There's things like this. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it where the paper has like cracked. That is because I wanted to try to print this on matte photo paper, which was like a little thicker. So I'm wondering if it doesn't like being folded very well. So I just like how brighter the colors were when I printed it that way. Okay, so now you can use stuff from the kit to cover this up. You could do lots of different things. We could attach that there to cover it up and even like turn that into a pocket. I think there's another corner pocket. I think there's some bigger ones that we can use to do that as well. But that's how you can create that kind of big turn pocket. Another thing you can do, which is fun, is add a pocket to this, so then you have this bigger pocket for like a big envelope, but then you could also have like a smaller pocket on the front here. It's up to you. So now this particular kit comes with some file folders, so I wanted to create some pockets on the back part of this to show you how you can make pockets to attach, put these in. Okay, so what I want to do is measure the width of these, and these are 5 1/4 wide. That is because I printed these, I think I printed it borderless when it printed, so that yours could be bigger or smaller. But what I want to do is I'm going to do 3 different pattern papers here. So I'm going to go with this one, and this one. And these are, again, from the same Angel Wings kit. So I'm going to cut these, but when I cut them, so that is 3, just over 3 inches. So I want to cut these, because they were 5 1/4 wide. I'm going to cut these at 6 inches. We'll go 6 1/4. 6 1/4 wide by 3 inches. So 3 by 6 1/4. And I went ahead and just cut all 3 of them at the same time to save myself some time. And I'm going to move this over to 6 1/4. Okay, so now I'll have to do this individually, but I want to then score on the quarter line. I want to score quarter on that side. I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to score the quarter mark on that side. Just so that I've got my pocket that's going to go here. And I'll layer these pockets on. But having the folds on the side will help us have enough room for that to go in without it taking up so much room here. So it'll be a little bit wider pocket that we can then slip those into. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and score those other ones, and then we can layer the pockets in there. I'm just going to distress this a little bit. I'm doing both the top and the bottom because I don't know yet how I'm going to layer them. I definitely want to put this one in the middle, but I think I'm going to go with that one. Okay, so green's going to be the first one to go down. Now, when I'm putting this pocket in, you'll notice I didn't take the glue all the way to the edges because I want, if I take it all the way to the edges, then the flaps would get glued down, and then you'll have like issues with your folder getting stuck, or you won't be able to push it in all the way because of the way the sides get in the way. So I'm just putting that down. Okay. Next will be the white one. I need to get this down just a little more. Okay, so I'm going to run this along here, here, and then give myself the gaps on the ends. And then I'm just kind of eyeballing where I want to how I want to space these out. I want it spaced out enough that I can see a little bit of the folder inside, but I also want to be able to see the pretty paper. So now we have our pockets for our little folders to go into. I like having the little folders because you can and you could even put a little picture in there, especially with a kit that's all about remembering loved ones. So that is pretty much all I wanted to kind of show you with this kit. I think I'm going to try something different, which I haven't done. I'm going to do a high speed of me doing the rest of the embellishments on this kit, so you can kind of get an idea of just how I go about doing that. But this is what we got so far, so you'll see how it finishes up.